Okay. So please share, introduce yourself, tell us about your role, your journey.
All right. Well, my name is Emiliano Gross. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm currently working at the Ewing Marine Convent School as a Spanish 2 teacher, but also I'm transitioning to the Dean of Students position for the last year. So that's what I have been doing so far. And I'm probably going to move to that full position like when we come back from break. So my journey is like a little bit particular. I never had education as one of my career goals or my career like dream jobs in as growing up. I have sports background. I always wanted to play soccer. As you probably know, soccer is big in Argentina, so that's what all kids want to do. I was lucky enough and blessed enough to, get to play a lot, and also I became professional when I was 21. But didn't have like the right mindset to, like the resilience that it takes at that time. Um, so I knew I needed to have a plan B. So because I wanted to continue and being in touch with soccer when I was, I retired, I pursue a physical education career because that's how you go into, conditioning and training. So that ended up me having to teach at school to get my PE diploma. And I remember my first experience was teaching PE to kindergarten, 3, 4, and 5-year olds. And that's kind of like the filter, that's your first year, that you teach. So it's either you love it or you hate it. And I really love it. I had a really great experience with them, and I said like I could do this. So like fast forwarding, I came to the US under a scholarship, like athletic scholarship. And then I finished my PE degree here in 2017. Um, and I received the advice of a former teacher that told me, hey, because you speak Spanish and want to be attractive to get a work visa here, I recommend that you do the ESL endorsement and the Spanish one as you finish, because you pick up a rock and you find a PE teacher, so you should be more competitive. So that's what I did. I took my 2 endorsements, and with that, I started like looking for a job. And that time I was dating my wife. She's in like we're now in Kansas City, but I was living in McPherson, Kansas, finishing school. So I was starting to look a job here in the area, and I got hired by KCKPS to work at Schlegel High School to be a Spanish teacher. And then the following year, I got recruited by the Kaufman School, and I I saw like a different way to provide education to underprivileged students, and especially students of color and minorities. And I felt drawn to that. I saw that the students that I was teaching at Schlegel and the students that I'm teaching now at Kaufman, they are pretty much the same with similar backgrounds. But the outcomes and the way that we teach them and the way that we support them is way different. So that immediately drew me to Kaufman, and which I started like a P as a sorry not P Spanish 2 teacher, and since last year I've been transitioning into the dean of students position. They asked me if I wanted to, give it a shot because they saw something in me, the way I relate with students, and I connect with them. So I said, yes, why not? Let's try it. So I really like the job. It's very hard. It's very taxing emotionally. You deal with probably students and families and also teachers at their worst when they need support. But one of the things that I reflected and I realized is that the reason why I'm here in education is because I like to serve. I like to help people. And I believe that I've been put in this position to make a difference and to use that which I like to think is as my gift. to help others, um, achieve their goals, whatever they are at any capacity. So now I'm pursuing that path. So that's kind of like in a nutshell, like my story.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I kind of like that, you say education wasn't even like one of your career goals,
Mhm.
because that's awesome that like it can, then it inadvertently it like kind of led you to where you're at. So
Yeah.
I love that. And congratulations, Dean of Students. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were nominated for Educator of the Year. What does that mean to you?
Awesome. It was a big surprise, I'm not gonna lie. I knew about Latinx for a couple of years now. I have good friends that participate um, in that, and for always because I was, I don't know, busy with my stuff. I was learning the job. As I told you, I was a PE teacher that transitioned into the classroom. So for me, it was all like learning, learning, learning all the time. Um, I was never like I never had the time to go and engage with other groups outside or organizations outside Kaufman. So I was very surprised that I was nominated. And to me, it's just like another. Um, it's a reassurance, that sometimes I need to continue and to know that I'm doing okay and I'm being valued, which is important. Teachers, educators, we go through a lot of scrutiny. A lot of people like to, tell us the way that we should do our job, and not a lot of times we receive, you know, like a pat in the back saying, "Okay, you're doing fine." Um, so I think like this just I'm proud. I'm proud of the work that I did, that all the sacrifices that my family you know did for me to get me to the place that I am, all the support that my current family is providing with my wife. Us started a family 2 years ago, and like that family getting bigger and bigger, and like all the support, all the sacrifices that they do for me, to see me happy, and all the value that they see in me being reflected in this nomination. I think is very special. So I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to hear that. So that shows that Latinx representation in schools matter. Um,
Absolutely.
what impact do you see yourself having on your students, and why do you think Latinx teachers are important?
So I think like representation matters. I believe that um, like I'll say like all humans, we always are looking up to something. We all have like our, idols and heroes and like people that we want to be like. Um, that's like something that we have naturally. In education, in my short experience working here in Kansas City, um, I didn't see a lot of Latinos or Latinas or Latinx educators where I was. We were like a very big, like a very small, sorry, big, very small minority, and we have a lot of Latinx students in our student population, and I believe that they all deserve to see that they can be whatever they want. They all need to see and hear our stories because they might not be the same story as them, but it's just a story of resilience and perseverance and hard work that leads you to a better place in your life. For instance, my heart aches every time that I try to engage in Spanish with Latinx student, and that student doesn't want to speak Spanish to me. Um, and when I dig deeper and I start talking to that person, or maybe then I connect with their families, um, they, like, some of them tell me that they went through a lot growing up. For instance, their parents or families, they don't speak English, but they want their children to speak English because they don't want them to go through what they went, all the discrimination and things, that ignorant people sometimes do, um, because they don't appreciate differences, because they don't appreciate culture or different cultures. So one of my goals as I stepped into the Spanish teacher role was to kind of make them feel proud of their culture. I do a lot of cultural activities, um, and especially with my Hispanic students, because they already know the language. They're not gonna get a grade, it's gonna be an ECA for them. But at the same time, I want them to, one, help me in the class, be leaders in the classroom, and two, like, show everybody else our culture. And that's something that nowadays is very, very important, because we are in an era where if you're different, sometimes that doesn't mean that you're good. Being different, puts tabs, and also, um, it's a lot of bias attached to that. And I think, like, our students need to see that not everybody's like that, that they can thrive, and they can, with hard work, they can do whatever they want to do. And for example, like, speaking two languages is an asset. It's a big asset, not like a weakness that they have. So for all that, I believe that representation matters. I believe that uh, we need to be role models, not only in our jobs, but like in our daily life. I like to bring my family to school as much as I can. I like to show them, okay, yes, I'm a professional here. I work a lot of hours, but also I love my family. I love them. I want them to be part of it. Um, so I think, like, that type of representation also is important to our students.
Absolutely. And I like that you really pull in the humanity piece of it, like showing your students that, you know, you can speak both languages and be free and be happy and unashamed, unapologetic about that. And I love that. And what better way to know that than to see someone be that way? It's a hard thing to explain, to just tell someone to do, but like as a young person, seeing someone that they look up to, I'm sure that means a lot to them.
Mhm.
And you're right that like you could possibly be one of the only people that they see also, because that population is so small, that representation is so little,
Mhm.
that who knows, wherever they go
Yeah.
next or who they see later on in life, like that could be their only, person encouraging them that way. So
Mhm.
that's beautiful. I love it. So my last question to you,
Mhm.
what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated?
As I said, I like to, whenever I think back of, like, me growing up, like, I had my passions always guide me. Like, I wanted to be the best soccer player I could be. That's what I worked out like 2, 3 times a day. I went training. I did like double shifts. I took care of my body. I did all these things to be that way, but because of my passion. But then when soccer was moved away, I had to kind of rediscover myself. And I discovered that my passion now is serving, um, like, serve others. And so that's one of the things that keeps me going. Like, always remind me, okay, what is the thing that what I'm here? Like, why do I wake up? Like, what do I want to do in life? I believe that if we follow our passions, if we, like, are blessed enough to find a job that also fulfills that side of you, your vocation, I think your job is going to be way easier. So that's one of the things that guides me. to help my students, to help my families, my community. Um, and I try to remember this as much as I can, because as I said, my work now as a dean of students is very emotional, like taxing. Um, and the other thing that guides me is also now my own family with my kids. Um, both my wife and I with work full time. We want them to see that that's the way to do it, like work hard in something that you're passionate about. And I everything now that I do is also for them to have a better future, for them to see that they are gonna be growing up um, in a society that may not look like them, but hopefully by the time that they grow up in a couple of years, we evolve and they are valued, and that they can speak any language that they want. If it is English, Spanish, French, German, those are all the languages that we speak at home. So if they want to be free and like actually like feel free or like and be happy, they can do that. So that's those are probably the reasons why I wake up every day, and I just try my best to you know be my best self, my best self as teacher, my best self as a dean, my best self as a parent, as a husband. um that's what I always like to do. And show love. I think that's that's one of the things that also drives me. We need to be able to love one another and kind of work as a society, as a community, in our school here, and as a family. I think if we love one another, I think our lives as a whole is going to be way better. So that's one of the things that I always try to have in mind. And sometimes love is not just a feeling, just like hard work. So I like to think of that, like everything is so intentional with a purpose. And we need to be able to think of all those things, and kind of like give it our best shot every day. So that's what keeps me moving.
Awesome. Um, I love that. Like love is not just a feeling. Sometimes it's hard work. And I love that. That's very motivating. I definitely not something I think about, but I mean, you wake up for the people, that motivate you, and that sometimes that's hard work just right there. I love that. Um, well, thank you so much for sharing today. Um,
No problem.
appreciate, you telling us about yourself and what this means and everything. Is there anything else you want to share about your nomination, about your motivation, anything?
um I don't know. I think I feel very blessed with everything that happened to me. Like thinking back, like it's hard for me to see myself, for instance, living in Argentina right now. I love my country, I love my people, but for instance, educators are not, treated well in Argentina. Like a lot of sectors in the society, we're like going through a lot, like stress right now. Like the economy is not very well. Socially, we are also struggling. Um, so like thinking back and the decisions that I made, and good or bad, like they brought me to here, to this position. And I'm here, as I said, because of a purpose, and I always trying to follow that. I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, so that also gets me going. So I believe that we're all part of like a bigger plan. And I try every time like that I go to work, or like I'm here with my family, to kind of follow that like plan, like what I need to be doing this in this moment. and just be super thankful for all the challenges that, make me grow, and all the blessings that I have. That I have not enough fingers to count them, and this is another one. This is another blessing, being able to share my story, being able to, I don't know, hopefully, reach people in a different way. So I'm very thankful. My heart is full now.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm gonna go ahead and stop our recording now.
Okay.